So, Louisiana governor approves gun bills that would allow 18-year-olds to carry concealed weapons, handguns, without no permit. Let's go to Jeff Hilarious in the Breakfast Club for the commentary.
I thought this was going to be covered in front page news, but I got my good sis back. So, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry approved 11 bills last week. Some of these bills include expanding death row execution methods and legislation that eliminates the option for parole. Now, nitrogen gas and electrocution were added as methods to carry out the death penalty. Now, one of the biggest changes is that residents 18 and older can carry a concealed handgun without a permit.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I seen that yesterday in the news. 18 years old. There's no way.
Yeah, right? And this goes into effect on July 4th.
Yeah.
Like
the 4th of July?
The 4th of July.
There ain't gonna be no firecrackers going on.
There's gonna be a bunch of purging, right?
Black folk, if you can't see that this is a setup, especially young black men and women too, if you can't see this as a setup, I don't know how else to show it to you. They done placed this in one of the most black cities that you can find, right? Louisiana. They've taken away options for parole. They've added options for termination, for the death penalty. Then they place the guns in young people's hands, 18 years old. And then they tell you, you don't have to have no education about the gun, no gun safety, no permit. We're not even going to show you how to use it. And then they place it on a holiday in which we know to fire off fireworks, in which also we know that guns are fired. They give you a holiday for you to start actively using it. If you can't see this as being a setup for you to kill yourselves, I don't know how else to explain it to you. Let's continue.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a setup.
So you don't need a permit. You 18 years old, you can go to the store and buy a firearm.
Yup, you don't need a permit to purchase. Insane. You don't need a registration of firearms. You don't need license to own. And you don't need a permit to carry. Nope, you don't.
Well, that's going to end well.
Yep. Louisiana reportedly uses slave labor in their prisons. I mean, this is what we know for people who don't know. That's some news I just dropped on y'all. And NOLA is the sixth most dangerous city in the world per capita. This is so intentional. That I wrote that. I ain't have to say. Let me just say, this is so intentional, right? America. And look, and I also dug up this quote. Right, I know Charlemagne be doing this, but this is a meaningful one.
Okay, go ahead.
A pheny Shakur said, America will give you all the tools that you need to destroy yourselves.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
That's facts.
That's very much, that just trumps any other quote that he ever said.
This what happens when Jess can't go to sleep and she stays up and watches the news.
All night long.
This is how we get an effective news day. You know? And I just think it's crazy. And I saw one lawmaker that said, this is going to lower the crime rate. What?
That's why I can't stand these lawmakers and politicians sometimes, because they'll just tell you anything if you'll let it fly past you. They'll pee on you and tell you it's rain. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody could have asked this guy, like, how would you tell me that all of that, one of the most violent cities in America, and you giving guns to the young and all this stuff, in what way would that tell you that it's going to lower the crime rate? Doesn't make any sense to anybody that's thinking about this logically. But let's continue.
No.
You know what I mean? They're intentionally setting kids up, setting, black people up. I don't care. This is crazy.
I just think at 18 to be able to have that much power in your hand and not necessarily be grown, I think it creates a big problem, because
the biggest problem is that there's no background checks whatsoever.
No.
Number one, you're only 18.
Yeah.
Right? But clearly they're not doing any type of mental competency test, nothing. Like, you can just walk into a store and get a gun. Nobody knows what your emotional well-being is, your mental well-being, nothing.
But you're not even grown yet. Just imagine the things that you did at 18.
Yeah.
Right? You getting into fights and you doing stupid
saying. You're not even mature.
But now you have a firearm in your hand that you feel like gives you even more power.
There's a lot of teens that are still angry and have so much built-up anger at 18. You get what I'm saying? And now listen, it doesn't cover, you can't get a rifle or a shotgun, only handguns. You know how easy they are to get already?
Well, you usually could get a handgun a rifle, a shotgun at 16 usually, right?
Yeah, but no, this doesn't cover that. It's saying no for that. But
And it's no to the rifle and the shotgun, because I believe that, the weapon of choice for people that's in the streets is a handgun. You understand what I'm saying? But see, they'll allow the rifle and the shotgun because that's the weapon of choice of the good old boys that like to go in the woods and hunt. And it seems to be the weapon of choice for those that like to go in them high schools and carry out those type of shootings. You understand what I'm saying? But let's continue.
Only the handguns, yeah. Crazy. All right, so that's the recipe for disaster. Happy July 4th, y'all.
And then not only that, when the police pull you over and you got a handgun on you, now that's another thing they got to worry about.
Oh, not there because it's clearly legal, right? You show your license
not
and registration.
And then the fact that
and your gun permit.
If you have enough time to pull out your license and registration, if police pulls you over with a handgun on you.
and then the legislation that eliminates the option for parole, they setting them up. Like, they're literally setting them up to be killed and thrown in jail forever. Sad.
And so we can clearly see the game that they're playing and how they running the play on us. But my question is, when are we going to stop playing into this whole situation? Because it doesn't work if we don't kill ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? They can set the laws up to do whatever to make it easier for us to do. But if we still don't pick up the gun, point the trigger, and pull it at each other in whatever violent situations that we got going on, then it still doesn't work. So at some point, we got to wake up. We got to give the outrage that we need to give and talk about these bills and these raggedy politicians that's setting us up for this type of stuff, and we need to get them out of office. But we also need to hold ourselves accountable and say, no matter what they do, man, we're not about to keep participating in killing each other. And I get it, man. Young folk, you're trying to find ways to get money. And that needs to be a way to solve a lot of these violent problems that we have going on in the neighborhood, is getting money. We need to help ourselves, and these politicians need to find ways in order to get jobs and money and entrepreneurial opportunities into our hands, rather than to get guns into our hands. Because just like they said in the pheny Shakur quote that Jeff Landry read off earlier, America will give you all the tools you need to kill yourself. This is why when you go into every black neighborhood, I mean, it's flooded with a trifecta of things that we need to destroy ourselves. Liquor stores is on every corner. Weed dispensaries is on every corner. You got the fast food on every corner, with the pharmaceuticals on every corner, Walgreens and all of that. Then you have those are drug lords right there, the pharmaceuticals. Because you got the dope boys who, they selling crack and cocaine and all of that stuff they getting from whatever plug they're getting. But a lot of times they selling the pills that they get from the pharmaceutical places, the Walgreens and the CVS's and all of that. Where do you think them pills come from? Them heroin pills, codeine and all that. That's coming out the pharmaceutical places and out the hospital, straight out the spittle. And of course, the government floods the hood with guns. As you can see with this bill, they take it a step further. Then, of course, you got the black market guns, but then you got the stores now that they're making it legal for you to for your 18-year-old to be able to walk in there and just grab a gun. But yet everybody talks about how we're so concerned about mental health and all of this stuff. But you give an 18-year-old who obviously probably even hasn't lived enough life to even be thinking that they need some mental health adjusting, right? They're probably in the midst of going through some mental health issues right now that they haven't even identified to be such. And these are the young people that you decide to make it easier to get a hold of a gun for. Like, it don't make no sense to me. But it does make sense to me. Why? Because the government ain't for us. Never has been. And it never will be. It's not for us. So at some point, we're going to have to start actively being for us. We're going to have to start talking our way through these problems instead of shooting our way through them. We're going to have to start finding a way to love on our brothers and sisters rather than hating on our brothers and sisters. It got to start and end with the family. We got to stop building these broken families and leaning on the government for help, because they only want to separate us further. Make sure your mother and your father is in the home. Make sure, even if you can't have that, make sure we have adequate mentors or mother, father figures around these kids that can make sure, even if you do separate with your baby daddy, make sure he is still actively in that child's life. Baby daddy, stop running from your child as well. If you one of them, if you one of them Papa was a Rolling Stone type dudes, stop running from your children. Get in the home and be part of their lives. We have to actively start to repair our families so we can repair the way that we look at each other, so that when it comes down to conflict, we can find a way to resolve it without ending each other. And then in the end of it all, we will become stronger of a people, so that when they try to run these goofy games that they running on us with the politicians and the laws and this, that, and the other, we will have a stronger hand in which to fight them with. And not physically, but through writing laws ourselves, through voting in the right people that we need to vote in to resolve these situations. But this your boy P. Cam. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.